Okay, so let's continue and let's do something more interesting here in Animate. So we can create anything we want from these tools, and these tools are similar to other tools that you use in other softwares, as I already told you. And well, I'm considering that if you are trying to work with Animate, you are learning Animate, it's very likely that you already worked with other softwares before this one by creating some digital art. So you are already familiar with these tools. So I will just highlight some particularities that you may find in some of these tools. For example, the brush tool. You will see that here we have some properties. These properties are disabled because these are properties for the stroke. And when we are working with brush, we are not using stroke, we are just using the fill. So we do need the brush options here. And we have here the size of our brush and the type of our brush. Well, you have the smoothing level. Okay, so these are properties that you will explore. So I will just do something like this, and there you see that some smoothness is applied. And this is, well, a shape. So these little dots indicate me that this is a shape, and I can also confirm it by observing here what is in the properties panel. And if I continue to paint, okay, and I'm not creating new elements, I'm just changing this element, okay, because I'm working with the same color, is simply adding, and I can use my V tool to change to change my shape, okay. If I want to use another color, I can use another color, but what will happen is that if I cross something, okay, something like this, what is happening is that I'm cutting it, okay. So now I can pull this, yeah. So this is interesting, okay, and you will manage to take advantage of this feature. And of course, you can continue working with the traditional editing mode with the control points, okay. So this is something that I find well, different from other softwares. If we explore a little bit the pencil tool, this time I'm not working with the fill color, I'm just working with the stroke color, and now I have my options here, okay, and I have a style, and I have the caps and joins off. You will explore it later. I think it's a waste of time talking about this in a tutorial. So this is a pencil tool, and what is interesting is that I can make almost, oops, this one was not that perfect, I exaggerated. I can make almost perfect shapes with this pencil tool, or I can make it smooth, okay? I have here these options that are quite interesting, where I can make it look like ink. And depending on what you want to do, of course, these are still shapes, as you can see, and yeah, we can still change this value after doing it. And while we are creating this, you probably didn't notice, but something different also happened here in my timeline, because I'm just talking about creating, but this is a software for animation. So my timeline is very important. And you see here in my position number 1, I have a keyframe, and this is a keyframe because I have this black dot, and it's not a dot, let's call it a circle, because if I delete everything, that black dot becomes transparent or just a circle, right? So this means that this keyframe is empty, and when I have something, it becomes black. So this is a very useful way to understand, because when we start having a scene more complex, sometimes we get a little bit confused, and this is an easy way to understand if it has something or not, especially if we start having more layers, and we are going to, well, play with the layers and play with the content that is visible or not visible, and we can always add a new keyframe without any content. So this is called a blank keyframe, and this is a keyframe. Okay, so if I want, for example, my animation to have a duration of 30 frames, and I will insert frame, for example, and notice that I have also keyframes and blank keyframes. You already know what is a blank keyframe. I just told you. A keyframe and a frame, they are different. So a frame, and I just selected frame, a frame is just a copy of what is present in the last keyframe. So a blank keyframe is still a keyframe, okay? So basically these frames, all these frames are just the same as the position number 1. If I create here keyframe, insert a keyframe, and now I can change my shape, and I will, for example, make it something like this, okay? What is happening is that in this position number 1 is like this, keep looking like position number 1, and then it changes, and then it's the same. And if I insert here a blank keyframe, it's just disappeared because I inserted a keyframe without content, okay? If I copy, and I will just, paste frames, I will have it again, okay? Well, we can consider this like an animation, okay? Of course that there are no in-betweens yet, but we are going to reach there. If I want to make an animation of these 2 keyframes, we can make it automatically instead of making like in-betweens manually. So what I can do is just come in here, somewhere between this keyframe and the next one. It can be here or it can be here in the middle, and I can create a shape tween. Why is it a shape tween? Because these elements are shapes, okay? So if these are shapes, I can make a shape, I can create a shape tween, okay? I cannot create a motion tween, neither a classic tween, okay? So these 2, classic tween and motion tweens, are tweens that will happen with symbols. We created a symbol in the last video, and we will create it again in a second. But in this case, we have shapes, so we can make a shape tween. And what is happening is making the animation automatically between these 2 keyframes, okay? So if I want to create like a element that is moving from one side to the other, and I will create another thing, and I will create something else. Okay. I will create something like this, and like this, and this is like. So this is my for example, I want just to make it move, and I will just do something like this. I want to make it move from here to there, for example. To do this type of animation, and this is called a classic tween, I cannot use a shape because shapes are for shape tweens, as we did here, okay? So if I want to move it from one side to the other, I have to convert it to a symbol. So let's do it. And this is my movie clip. This is my man, for example. Oops. This is my man, and I will keep it as a movie clip. I will place OK. And remember, we already talked about it. Our symbols come here to library, and now I can place it here. And now, for example, if I want to make an animation like from here to there as well, here. Well, this is not like automatically, so if I move it here, it will not automatically create a keyframe. I have to create myself a keyframe. So I will right click and insert keyframe, or you can just press F6. And now I will place it, for example, here, and I can even make it smaller, okay? And I can also make it back like this. And this is happening, and now here in the middle or in the first keyframe, I will create a classic tween. And now, here we go, we have our animation. And of course that we can make much more complex animations, and we will cover them in the next following videos. I will just make another little difference. So in this second keyframe, instead of green, I want it in other color. I will just apply a red color, for example, and that's it. Okay, so that's all for now, and see you in the next video.